York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to a hot summer night full of Ask an Engineering. It's me, Lady Ada, broadcasting live from the Adafruit headquarters. That factory you see behind me is not a green screen. It's real. This is where we do all of our testing, shipping, coding, manufacturing of all the electronic goodies that you love to make with and follow tutorials thereof. With me is Mr. Lady Ada here on camera control. We've got a jam-packed hour full of fun. We've had so many guests and visitors and special events on Ask Engineer, but this week it's classic. Just me and Mr. Lady Ada. So let's kick it off. What's going to be on tonight's show?
On tonight's show, the code is the mask.
Whoa.
We'll tell you why a little bit later.
Oh, because I'm
off.
Jim Carrey. I'm just going to pull him in.
Yeah. Jim Carrey will be stopping by later.
Okay.
10% off in the Adafruit store all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. That's everything except for gift certificates, AdaBox, and Codecademy classes. It supports us, an open source hardware company here in New York City, where we pay people, and we have health benefits, and we have paid days off for charity, and all sorts of good things. That's only possible if you buy something. But if you buy something, save 10% off. Show and tell, people around the world showing and sharing their projects. Lady Ada will talk about who showed up on the show and tell and what they shared. We have some JP show, as well as some Make Code Minute and some previews and more. Got some Python on hardware news. We just celebrated CircuitPython Day, so we have a recap of that and more. 3D printing, some videos from Noah and Pedro. New York City factory footage from Adafruit, New York City, right here. We have some new products. We'll answer your questions. We do that over on Discord, adafruit.it/Discord, where you can join 13,000 of us. And there's probably a topic or something that's interesting to you, even if it's not about what's going on your video screen right now. So check that out. We're there all the time. We'll do some top secret. We'll give away something. All that and more on, you guessed it,
Dun, dun, dun.
Ask an Engineer.
Yay.
Okay, well, let's quickly do some pay and some bill stuff. So don't forget the code is the mask. Use that on checkout before 11:59 p.m. tonight. And there's also free stuff. So good news, there's free stuff. Other news, we ran out of rulers last week. So those are gone, which we expected because it was a really popular
It was
item.
actually only for CircuitPython Day, so we only had them for like 2 days.
But in lieu of lures, in lieu of rulers. Yeah, that's a hard sentence to say.
We have stickers.
We have a sticker at the $49 tier.
Yes. Okay. So we got some freebies. $49 or more, you'll get a free Blinka sticker while supplies last. This high quality vinyl sticker tells if you're like, where do I download CircuitPython stuff from? And it says CircuitPython.org. You won't forget. $99 or more, you'll get a free Proto half-size breadboard. That's the white PCB you see there, just like a solderless breadboard. You can take your project, solder onto here when you're done with it, and to recycle your solderless breadboard. $199 or more, you get free UPS ground shipping in the continental United States. That's high quality, trackable, insured shipping with a guaranteed, you will get it within a weakness rather than postal, which is not always guaranteed. And then Circuit Playground Express at $299. That's our all-in-one development board that runs CircuitPython, but also Arduino, MakeCode, CodeBlocks, MicroLisp, Golang, all sorts of good stuff. You can run a whole bunch of different languages on it, and it's great for beginners or experts because it has all the sensors and LEDs already built in. You get buttons, NeoPixels, microphone. We might even try to get some machine learning working
Maybe not
on this.
experts. Actually, I'm gonna disagree with you.
Oh.
Experts don't like it. It's too easy.
Too easy.
It's too easy. They can't gatekeep you away.
Don't like
They can't keep the knowledge away. They
Well,
can't make you feel bad.
It's good for people who don't want to make you feel bad, who
Yeah.
may also be experts. But yes, some experts don't like it. That's okay. We're rebels here.
You know what? We've seen this. Someone has said, y'all are making it too easy for people to learn how to program. That's happened.
And that was like a down thing. It was like they weren't.
You people are making it too easy to learn how to program. I actually wanted to make that as one of the things for Circuit Playground Express.
Yeah.
All the experts agree.
Too easy.
This makes it too easy. You should suffer.
Okay. Well,
This is
if you're like me and you suffered enough and you
This
just
is the
want to get
feedback
going,
that we've got.
with
Yeah.
a project. It's a good plan.
I want to make it into a shirt
Okay. Well, you had that.
or on the back of the board.
Yeah.
On the back of the board.
Okay.
9 out of, you know how they always have like 9 out of 10 dentists agree? Like
Yeah.
one dentist is like, I don't think you should use toothpaste. This is like that.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 experts want you to steer clear of having a good time.
Yeah, you should go back to writing assembler.
Yeah.
I remember the person was like, people should be writing CPLD code, and I was like, that is
Yeah.
not happening.
Yeah, anyways.
It's because they learned how to
Look
use
in
it.
my inbox.
Okay. Well, freebies. $2.99 or more, you get a free Circuit Playground Express.
Good for everybody except for that guy.
Except for that guy. This is great.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Now it's the show for tonight.
I know.
Sorry. We have shipping options. So UPS ground, that's the most reliable way. Not the cheapest,
mentioned.
but is the most reliable, trackable way.
Yeah.
Postal, it can disappear at times and then reemerge later.
But
It
it's still
uses
cheaper.
Dimensional shipping through multi-dimensions.
Oh, like multi-dimensional shipping.
Yeah, it goes
not-
into another dimension. And
different
then
than UPS's dimensional shipping where you have
That's
to
right.
measure it.
and then DHL for international.
Okay.
If
Three
you
great
are in
options.
New York City, you can do same day delivery in New York, just check out, and then you have a bunch of zip codes that are supported in Manhattan, and if it's one of them that we ship to, you can get that same day. All right, show and tell. People around the world showing and sharing their projects. We are now using StreamYard, and so we're able to do a little bit more, but it's also, we were using show and tells for show and tell with Google Hangouts Live for almost a decade.
Yeah.
So check out the show. You can see some of the different format that it is. Same thing, people in Discord, that's where we put the link. And we can have up to 6 people at once. And then there's 4 people in the green room that's there. And then we cycle them out.
It's
so this
exciting,
week we
but
had
it's
1,
happening.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
But we had more people
Yeah.
actually because we had that ability
Yeah,
to cycle
and so we're
people
able
in and out.
to get them in and out. So he was
Okay.
on the show and tell.
Okay, well, we had Phil B. who came by and talked about his some design decisions that we made for the Monster Mash, which we'll be showing off soon, including how we added a boopable nose, and he even demoed the booping. He's got that working, so when you boop the nose, it can touch, the capacitive touch sensor will detect it and blink the eye, so that was super cute. You can also see, he had an early Rev A of the board, if you want to see what that looks like. Erin's going to a Labyrinth costume party, so she made a no-solder crystal gem bowl using these crystal gems that she's gotten really great at making. And she's like, it doesn't have any electronics in it that like requires programming. And I'm like, that's cool. I like that. That's the best when people can make things, and even if they don't know how to solder or code. Melissa has been going gung-ho on displays. She is going through every TFT and OLED display we have and documenting how to add CircuitPython, how to use it with CircuitPython and Display.io. We've added all these displays into CircuitPython, but people are like, hey, could you have any code examples? So it'll get you started with the wiring diagram as well as what code will get you printing text and drawing shapes so you can verify your display's working. Noah and Pedro showed off this week's 3D Hangouts project. It's a NeoPixel hat that they took to Disney World. They went on holiday, and they also made one with the Mickey ears, and it's controlled with MakeCode. So they're trying out different programming systems as well, not just Arduino, which they've done traditionally, but CircuitPython, and now doing some MakeCode examples. JP is kind of experimenting with custom HID brushes in MakeCode by turning a Circuit Playground Express into a mouse painter. So when you press the button, it actually draws an HID. In HID, it plots out a shape. So you can make kind of interesting, like instead of just moving the mouse to where you want it to, it'll actually move the mouse in a circle or like a triangle. So it's kind of interesting because it's not a traditional way that people use HID interfaces, but could be useful if you want like an HID device that draws a perfect, like has the same shape that it draws each time. It's kind of based on the mouse jiggler code that we did quite a while back for AdaBox 007. We had Brent come by and talk about Mini MQTT, which he's been updating and improving. He's getting it to work with Google Cloud, which is really picky about their MQTT interfaces. And so by having a really picky server to test the client code against, he's been able to find all these bugs and fix them because now it works. That's what he knows works. So our MQTT library for CircuitPython is really solid. And people have been using it, and that's great, but you'll be able to use it with even more services for miniature programmable IoT projects. And from around the community, Joey came by. He had been working earlier on Unicode support for Arduino GFX libraries, and now he's taking that to the next level by making an e-ink feather wing, which was actually posted on Twitter. We saw it. It's a feather reader, it's an e-ink reader feather wing. You plug a feather M4 into the back, and then he put the STEMMA ports on it, and it's like got some buttons, and you can turn it into an e-ink reader. And it's not only English text, but he got Cyrillic working. He got Arabic script working. He got so he got left to right. He got right to left, and he got French going. So he's got accents. So basically, any book that you want to read on this reader, it'll support, which is I think is really neat. Arduino doesn't have a lot of native Unicode support, but check out CircuitPython as well, because we just added e-ink support for that, so it might be a good project to try there. Chris is building art canvas hanging projects. So it's Raspberry Pi computers with various boards like Pi portals and Halloween and circuit playgrounds mounted onto white canvases to hold them together, and then maybe backlit or have sensors on them, and it kind of like really cool like electronic sculptures with code and displays on them. They look really neat. Wand is making a robotic arm with tendons that are controlled by a stepper motor, and he's got an Arduino Mega that is controlling the arm fingers, and so far one finger, and he's going to get the other four going, so he'll have all five, and he can open and close the hand. And then JMK did make a charades. Looks like he figured out that there's a storage module in Circuit Playground Express, which I didn't even know about, and so you can log data to the SPI flash or to the internal memory, and he's making a bike light that can detect tilts and motion, and it's logging the state to the SPI flash so we can then debug it. So it looks like it'll know when you're braking or turning, and it will change the LEDs on the Circuit Playground. And that's show and tell.
Okay. All participants on the show and tell get an as seen on the show and tell sticker. If you are a kid though, please have a parent-like entity email, and we will send you out a sticker. All right, last week we had a little bit of a sneak peek of our latest video in our ongoing series. We have a coloring book called Lady Ada's E is for Electronics, and we are up to R. And R is for Robot. We showed the preview last week, but now world premiere on Ask an Engineer anyways.
I even haven't seen it,
yeah,
so
R is for Robot.
Gonna watch it.
There you go.
All right, be ready.
Isaac Asimov was writing to Big Dog. Cyborg standing there flying a drone. Electro's headed to the first convention. Getting there a GPS, but Exapod's at home. Make robot friend, not robot enemy. Make robot fun, and don't hurt no one. iRobot walks and Jack Hart looms. Connect can see in 3D. The line following bots they only see to manufacturing is an important use. And nanotech will be someday soon. And let's not forget that obstacle avoidance. A prosthetic limbs and all the curio toys. Advanced make robot friend, not robot enemy. Make robot pal, any way you know how. Roombas and self-driving cars are smart, but mechanical Turks have a human heart. Underwater open source robots dive. Robotic vision lets them see the ocean live. Wildcats a hopping, X-Rex relaxes. Y-series printer moving up and down the Z-axis. Make robot friend, not robot enemy. Make robot fun, and don't hurt no one. Make robot friend, not robot enemy. Make robot pal, any way you know how.
heartwarming.
Yeah. And so here's, in case you're wondering why we do these videos.
Why do you do these
They're
videos?
meant for maybe adults, parents, guardians, entities to hang out with their kids. We're stealing this from The Muppet Show. The Muppet Show wasn't meant for kids. It was meant for people to come together and watch it together.
Yeah.
Mostly parents and kids. Because there's like advanced topics
Yeah.
on The Muppet Show. There was advanced humor that, kids didn't quite get it. But it was entertaining enough for the parents to say, oh, yeah, we're just watching this because it's the kids. So this is one of those things, too, where you want to have parents
So the
with their
kids probably don't know what Bob Dylan is, but the parents probably do.
Yeah, they also might not, the kids might not know who Isaac Asimov is
Yeah.
or some of these robots, but that'll start a conversation and they'll start talking. The other thing is, since we've been doing some machine learning stuff and some AI, which is mostly lies and doesn't work.
Yeah.
We wanted to, but it'll get there one
Yeah,
day.
I think so.
But we wanted to have something, just as a reminder, like whatever code that we put in is going to be what eventually comes up and shakes our hand or shoots us with a gun when
Yeah.
it comes to AI and machine learning.
Yeah.
So the code that we write, it's not going to be an algorithm's fault. I'm actually kind of tired of hearing that when something doesn't work out. Oh, it's an algorithm's fault. No, person did it. No,
There's a person that approves the algorithm.
not even approve. A human said this is okay. And so there's a lot of things that don't work in computer science, but if people thought about it this way, like, oh, this thing, if you're in machine learning and AI because you believe that there's going to be intelligent machines, then why not do a good job and give it some morality and some ethics and do a good job with it? And so that's why we say make robot friend, not robot enemy. And hopefully, maybe not this generation of adults, but maybe the kids that are like 10 years old right now, they'll see
Yeah.
this, oh, make robot friends. 10 years from now, they'll be like, oh, I'm going to learn about whatever machine learning is
Yeah.
in a decade from now, as they go off to school or whatever they do. Maybe they'll think about this and say, oh, like robots can be friends. It's not all just Terminator, killer robots. It's something that could be a friend or a companion or be helpful.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's why we do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
While we wait for AI to catch up.
Okay. It's part of our live series of shows and our pre-recorded shows, which we do, which is like R's for Robot. JP show is tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Couple little previews that we're going to show. One is it's a little crank. Meet.
Yeah, what is this?
This
What's
is
going
cake.
on here? This is
cake,
cake?
and it's not a lie.
It's
And,
crake. It's crank
yeah.
cake.
And then the next one has some sound, so I'm going to, or I think it does. And that is a little bit of a preview of what's coming up this week. So if you haven't already, go to makecode.adafruit.com, plug in a circuit playground device.
Get started
and
immediately.
try it out. And
More fun.
if you want to
Not
see,
for experts.
if you want to, no, it's for,
No, so you said the experts.
Some
don't
of
like-
them.
Some of them. 1 out of 9.
yeah, experts agree that we're making it too easy to
Too
learn.
easy.
Yeah. No, straight up, I got this email.
I know.
You are making it too easy to learn electronics, lady.
All right.
You're making it terrible for people
I'm
who want
sorry.
to keep people out.
I'm sorry you
anyways,
feel that way.
I don't feel that way.
I'm not saying it's that person.
Yeah, but we have
They're
a
probably
Make
not
Code Minute.
watching though. Yeah, make it a minute.
They're watching guns. Too easy.
It's too
Too
easy.
easy.
Too
All right,
easy.
so here's a Make Code Minute.
what I wanted to talk about today in the Make Code Minute is how to use the brand new melody block to create tunes inside of Make Code Arcade. Up until now, there's been some one block at a time methods where you could play notes, but now there's this little sequencer in here. So I grabbed this in music, and now you can see there's melody, play melody, cute little icon there, and it is an 8-step sequencer. So I've set the BPM here to 240, and I've laid in some notes, and you can actually preview your notes. So, okay, so you get this little octave. And now I've gone in and programmed something so I can hit play, and it's great because you can test it as you go. And then to play a little more interesting thing, I've actually got some polyphony going, so I've got 2 notes going on at a time with these forever loops. So I'll go ahead and hit play and check it out. And that is how you can create tunes and Make Code Arcade using the melody block.
Okay, let's make a minute, and don't
So
forget
easy.
JP's show is next week. All right.
It's time. It's time. It's time for Blinka.
Yeah, it's Python on Hardware time. We are still celebrating CircuitPython Day, 8/8/2019. It turns
takes
out
like a week to
it was a week of
finish.
celebrations. It was
Yeah.
a weekend of celebrations, and there's still stuff coming up. So, like I had said before, we were doing the free ruler stuff, and we ran out almost instantly. So that was good.
People like these rulers.
Yeah, but right now, and probably for a while, we're going to have these stickers. So
Yes.
at the same level, instead of it being a ruler, there's the stickers. There was cake. Cake is not a lie.
Ooh, wow. It's a Circuit Playground Express
Yeah.
Blinka cake. That's a nice cake looking.
Yeah, this is from the India Linux User Group, Delhi and Hardware Hackers Club. They celebrated CircuitPython Day. They had a show and tell.
Look at them rocking out.
Group photo
Yay!
and more.
Building hardware together.
Over at IoT Makers Israel, they had a hands-on CircuitPython workshop on 8/8 for CircuitPython Day. And not only that, they also posted up their journey on doing a hardware badge that happened to run.
Yes, that's
CircuitPython
right. We posted about
as
that
well.
a while ago. They
Yeah.
did a, well, now it can run CircuitPython because we have e-ink display support.
That's right. On Ask an Engineer last week, you and Scott talked about CircuitPython, community, and more. Then on Thursday, Kattni talked about changing lives through open source, passion, and mentoring. This is a must-watch. Watch Kattni's. This is a recap from her Pi Ohio talk, but it is a must-watch. So when people ask, like, how could I do the type of things that someone like Kattni does? Watch her journey, listen to her words, and watch this recap where we all talk about it as well. Then we did a history of CircuitPython, and this was a talk that Scott did at the PyCon Language Learning Summit, where there was core Python developers, and you and Scott talked about the history of CircuitPython, and then also where we're going with CircuitPython. That's not all. This weekend, Lambda Labs is at the Beirut Hackerspace. They're doing a CircuitPython Day event too. So they'll have activities all throughout the day. It's August 17th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you happen to be in Beirut, this is the party for you. Okay, next up, there is a talk that Scott's doing and is in Seattle.
I think it's like today.
No,
It's
is it? It is August 14th. Yeah,
That's now.
that's like now.
You should go there right now.
At 8:30 p.m. So if you're watching this and you're in Seattle, you can go there right after this. It's CircuitPython and Game Boys for the Seattle Python User Group. Puppy. I just like the logo.
It's so cute.
Okay. Then Brian, also known as Sedacious in Discord, will be doing a talk at PyBay. PyBay is held August 15th to 18th in San Francisco. There's workshops Thursday to Friday and talks Saturday to Sunday. Brian will be giving a talk on Saturday called Accelerating Driver Development with CircuitPython.
Which is cool because he's doing a lot of CircuitPython sensor driver
Yeah.
development, constantly writing new libraries, so he's the expert.
And if you don't have a Circuit Playground, I know for a fact he has 20 because we sent them out to him. So bug him for
If
it.
you're nice to him.
Yeah. Or if you're incredibly terrible, he might just give you on the go. one way to do
It's
it
a
too, I
gift
guess.
or a bribe.
I wouldn't
I
do it
don't
that
know.
way.
I
Don't do
guess
that.
that's not what I do.
Okay, next up, PyCubed is a complete hardware plus software stack for CubeSats that addresses many of the common pitfalls of small satellite building. PyCube prioritizes high reliability design practices, low cost and radiation tolerant components, ease of use, thorough documentation. It is CircuitPython powered. This is yet another CircuitPython powered
Look
space
at this
thing.
massive radio.
It's space thing.
Cool. And then
It's a space
SAMD
thing.
51, all the accessories. This is a powerful board specifically for
Okay,
CubeSat
this
design.
you're gonna have to like zoom in and like look at it in a newsletter, but this is CircuitPython as a .NET standard library, no native code. It can handle strings, great function, and called built-ins. So someone posted this on Twitter and like, this is super weird and
This
cool.
is super cool and weird, and I have no idea why they did it, which means it's going to be very neat because I don't understand
I haven't done .NET
what.
stuff in a while.
Yeah, I don't know what this means.
Okay,
I can't wait to find out.
all right. Lots of different hardware that runs CircuitPython or Python on hardware or somewhere in that menagerie. This is a CircuitPython powered automatic fume extractor. This is on Hackaday.io. I thought it was something else at first. I'm just like, oh, this is like a Gotenna type or like one of the Cantenna things.
Yeah, it looks like it, but
Yeah,
it's
it's not.
okay.
Okay, this is kind of neat. This is an itsy bitsy M4 breadboard adapter.
Okay.
I thought that was cool.
Breaks out all the pins, and then it looks like you get also like a stemma connector and a battery. Can maybe add a light-poly charger too.
Yeah.
Oh, nice, handy.
And then this is CircuitPython snakes its way to the Arduino MKR 1010. Someone has their Arduino MKR working with Mu, working as a CircuitPython device.
Yes, I think we added a board definition. It's a SAMD 21, I think, and it's a little basic, but you can get some simple projects going on it.
Yep.
It's not super fast, but great starter board.
Okay, next up. This is kind of cool. Seed Studio is going all wings in with Feather.
Yeah, this is their first feather.
Taking flight.
They've done the particle.
But they didn't say
boards.
they didn't say Feather.
Well,
This one they
but
say
now
Feather.
they have a feather. Well, they had the breakout boards for
So-
the Grove and for the particles, and the particles, of course, are feather compatible. So now they're doing it, and I think this is brilliant because this is a SAMD 21. It has USB-C and it has this Wi-Fi module. And what's cool is, I've seen this Wi-Fi module. I wouldn't have had time to make a feather for it. So I'm really glad that they went ahead and did it. So more people making feathers. I hope to learn something from their techniques. They're really great at designing and making hardware. I like already some of the tricks they're doing. Going with USB-C, castellated pads. This is cool stuff.
So this is one of two headlines that I've been writing a lot lately. Feather takes flight with the YO Lite W600 from Seed Studio. Because it's YO.
Weo
Lite or Weo Lite?
Weo Lite?
Weo Lite or Weo Lite?
Wi-Fi?
However, they say the Weo Lite is compatible with Feather board pins. We believe Feather is a very successful development platform in the community, and there are already many cool Feather boards out there from Adafruit. So thank you. We put this spec out. Sometimes people say Feather and they don't say Adafruit, or they won't even say Feather or Adafruit. That's their problem. But what's cool is when you see this spec out there and you see it really
Well,
working.
we're seeing, I think, a little bit more cohesion. As people are coming out with really good platforms and standards, like, we're using the Quick standard now, Seed is using the Feather standard. I think it's good for everybody. It's good to have things cross-functional rather than, I have to buy a new, that's what I was trying to do with Feather. It's like, I was tired of oh my God, it's a new shield for each design.
So this is another Feather format board. This is the Orange Crab. And you can read about this on Hackster.io, as well as our newsletter. As well as
Yes, it's like an
Twitter and more.
FPGA,
That's right.
ultra powerful. I mean, this is like a 6-layer, 8-layer board.
Feather takes flight.
Look
with
at
the
this
Orange Crab.
crammed board. It's amazing.
Next up, this happened to be on our show and tell today, and I called some special attention to it on our blog and newsletter. This is a Featherwing e-ink reader.
So you make a fully open source e-ink reader using these 4.2 e-ink displays. Looks cool.
All right. Next up, this is from Sophie Wong. I think Sophie's in the chat too.
Okay.
This is
Ooh.
a CircuitPython powered wing. CircuitPython gives you wings.
It's got a little bit of that Mercy thing going
Yeah,
on there. It's
and
nice.
I think this is for an upcoming Hackspace article. Next up, there's sound on this one, so I'm just going to play it. It is a screaming necklace. So the louder it is, the more it lights up. So take it away.
Loudness necklace. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah! Yeah!
Kids love yelling.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's great.
And that is our Python on hardware news for the week. Linka is a wanted snake.
What's up with this poster?
Look,
It's cool.
that's what I'm doing. Okay,
How does she shoot her gun?
next up.
Okay.
Don't worry about that part.
I'm not worried about it.
Okay, Adafruit.io. We have some news. I wanted to talk about this. So Adafruit.io is our Internet of Things service for
It's true.
makers.
It's
We play
great
nice
for
with all
makers,
devices. You don't have to have.
MQTT,
You don't have to use our devices to use
REST.
it.
Use any device. It's got graphics.
Yeah.
It's got dashboards. It's great for the people getting started with IoT, and you want to graph, plot, or control your hardware over the internet.
So, new big updates. We did a user interface update. It's
Yes.
also about 15% faster
Yay!
altogether. And specifically, you'll notice a reorganization of all the menus. So, check that out. The other updates, quick links to all your data,
Cool.
new feeds, dashboards, triggers, all include quick links to your most recently updated feeds, dashboards, triggers. And then we have footer quotes, and we have all the things that make it synced up closer to the rest of the Adafruit properties, like Learn and other parts.
Cool.
So that's really cool. Good work.
And faster.
Adam and Justin, and I know Brent,
Brent works on stuff too.
quite a bit of the things that you see as project-based with Adafruit.io. Good work. We're an open source hardware company.
It's so true. Don't I know it?
I know you are because
What now? What email did you get?
I know you are because the firmware in the elevator that takes you to your desk is not open source. So therefore, none of your work is open source.
I know.
I'm
But
so sorry.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. It's emails we get. But I did want to talk about October is open source hardware month.
It's yes, I just got an email about this as well.
Where everyone can celebrate all the open source hardware companies and people out there that make open source hardware and release it all the time. We'll be doing stuff. So it's counting down.
Is it the 10-year anniversary of the first open source hardware?
Yeah, 10-year anniversary of the first.
Wow.
You keynoted the first one. And Open
Boy.
Source Hardware Month is October of this year. And then next year is the next summit that's coming up.
Time flies.
So we have 1,954 guides. What's on the big board this week, Lady Ada?
Booming. Okay, so this week we've got from David Stell's daily UV index pipe-roll display. We saw this as a tweet, and it turns out the EPA.gov, until it gets shut down, has a service where they will show you the UV index for your location. I think you give them a zip code or a postal code. And so in the United States, you can get a full graph. So it's like, we had a UV indicator that told you just like the peak for the day. But what's nice is it even tells you now for your zone, basically throughout the day, what it's going to be like. So you can say, oh, I want to get back before 11, so I'm not there at the 7 or 8 mark for UV index. And it's a colorful display that updates daily using a pipe portal. So thanks to David Stells, kind of taking that display IO code, taking it a little bit farther. From Known Pedro, we got the video for their CircuitPython Bluetooth controlled NeoPixel hat. They did this project before, but it was in Arduino. Now it's all in CircuitPython using the NRF52840 Feather, which is pretty exciting. You got the Go Fishing with Rotary Encoders guide from John Park. I know everybody is excited about rotary encoder crank-controlled electronics in game playing. And of course, the first thing you think is, wow, you should turn that into a fishing game. And he's like, that's a good idea. So he made a fishing game where you can't crank too fast, and it tells you how fast you're cranking. So you have to bring the fish up slowly. He also did some cool tricks like dithering the water, so it kind of has a bit of an alpha blending effect. It's kind of fake blending, but it works. And then of course you shake the board to cast out the net, and then attach a rotary encoder to crank up your fish. And I think you press the button to release it or something. And so you can go fishing, but with the Pi portal, with the Pi Gamer or Pi Badge. We got a Mike B guide. We've done so much work on display I/O for CircuitPython. People have asked multiple times, like, hey, I want to do slideshow creation. So we have a general purpose guide now on how to make slideshows, and we even have a bunch of photo packs to make it real easy for you to test out on your Pi portal or Halloween or whatever board that you have, or a board with a display attached to it, especially going along with Melissa's updated guides. You'll be able to make slideshows, which is just a really good way of, if you want to have information or pictures going by as something's going on with your program, the slideshow project will do that for you. And the library is really complete. Speaking of which, Kattni has written up 2 guides for the 3 IPS displays that we put in the shop a couple weeks ago. We have a 1.3 inch, 1.5 inch, and 2 inch IPS displays, 240 by 240 and 320 by 240. We now have guides, and Melissa also wrote up the Arduino example code for that. So you can use these displays with CircuitPython or Arduino or any other of your favorite SPI capable microcomputers. David Stelz also wrote up a guide. I don't know if we had this last week, but it was a Minesweeper, all in display I/O using tile maps and the touch screen to detect. And like with Minesweeper, you press it to put a flag, and then press it again if you think that there's no mine there. So you can see he has a cool animation that goes with it, where as he taps, it opens up the screen to play Minesweeper.
Yeah, I got a little snippet here.
Yes, it's like, okay, you're not sure, and then it's a flag, and then you're like, I think it's a thing, okay, and then yay! So then you can go through and flag all the mines as you play the game. So you can take Minesweeper and play it at home. And then last but not least, we have a guide from Amelia on this cool NeoPixel Bandcamp jacket with little strips, mostly about how to make mappable LED pixel displays. So it's like you can sweep or move color gradients throughout the garment, not with individual strips on it.
And we'll be showing this full video from Noah and Pedro in just a little bit.
Oh, it's got crystals on it too, so you can
Yeah.
really deck this out.
Okay, so look for more guides soon. It is time for some factory footage. Take it away, Adafruit Factory.
Yay, beep a boop.
In the 2000s and nearly 5,000 attempts in the 2010s. Over 8 times the number of attempts that were made during the 1970s. All of this traffic has turned Everest into a popular destination for wealthy tourists.
And it wouldn't be some New York City factory footage without a sunrise or sunset.
Whoa, this one looks cool.
Yeah. That was a good one. All right.
That's the best yet. It's really getting artsy.
We talked about it. You heard about it.
Now it's time to see it.
It's now time to watch it.
The video with Noah and Pedro's
It's the
NeoPixel Bluetooth hat.
BTLE CircuitPython hat.
Love
Here
it.
we go.
Take it away.
Hey, what's up folks? In this project, we're making a light up hat with Bluetooth controlled NeoPixels. We took this on our recent trip to Disney and just floored the cast members and park goers. This is a really fun project for folks just getting started with electronics. In this video, we'll show you how to add a NeoPixel strip to your hat and wire up the electronics. You can remotely control NeoPixels using the Bluefruit LE app for iOS or Android. In this project, we'll use the color picker and the control pad to trigger different animations. You can also use an Apple Watch to remotely control the NeoPixels from your wrist. This can be really handy for those times you can't pull out your phone. The Adafruit Bluefruit NRF52840 has everything you need to add BLE to your projects. Adafruit CircuitPython is built for beginners looking to program microcontrollers and hardware. With CircuitPython.org, you can quickly get your board up and running. Getting started is easy. Control NeoPixels with the BLE Connect app using the Bluefruit library for CircuitPython. This uses the fancy LED library to create animations with different effects and color palettes. You can write Python code in the Mu editor and use the built-in serial console for debugging your code. Installing libraries and uploading code is as easy as dragging and dropping files onto a flash drive. We think this makes for great demo code for folks just getting started. Get the parts to build this project, links are in the description. Be sure to check out the Learn Guide for the code and files. We'll start by laying out our NeoPixel strip to figure out how many pixels we can fit on our hat. The number of pixels depends on the density of the strip. Here we're using a mini skinny NeoPixel strip with 90 pixels per meter. Mark where the strip will start and end by wrapping it over the front of the hat. Follow the arrow on the back of the strip to see where the first pixel begins. We can use wire cutters to cut across the pads on the strip. Be sure to count your pixels twice before cutting it down to size. Try to cut evenly across the pads so you can leave enough area for soldering wires. We won't be using the silicone sheathing, so you can remove it. These crystals have no foil backing, so they're great for adorning NeoPixels. Just a drop of super glue is all we need to bond the crystals. We just need to be precise with the placement. This makes the LEDs look more like rhinestones and less like LEDs. We'll use these 3-pin JST cables to connect the strip to the feather. These cables make it easy to connect and disconnect. You can cut the cables short and lay out the components to map out the circuit. Next, we'll get started on wiring up the electronics. Using wire strippers, you can remove a bit of insulation from the tips of each wire. Then we'll add a bit of solder to tin the exposed wire. This prevents the strands of wire from fraying and it makes it easier to solder. Now we can attach the wires to the pads on the NeoPixel strip by soldering them in place. Third helping hands can help you keep those wires in place while soldering. Next, we'll wire up the Adafruit feather. We'll solder the JST cable to ground, voltage, and any of the available data pins. Now the feather just needs a way to turn the circuit on and off. So we'll wire up a small slide switch to the ground and enable pins on the back of the board. You can use a bit of hot glue to secure the switch to the PCB. We can also use a bit of hot glue to insulate the exposed pins. This allows us to turn off the 3-volt regulator and still recharge a LiPo battery over USB. The battery plugs into the port on the side of the feather. With the code and libraries uploaded, we can plug in the NeoPixel strip and test out the circuit. The Adafruit feather and LiPo battery fits nicely inside the lining of the hat. Just unfold the flap and drop in the feather and battery. You can secure the electronics, but I kept them loose so I can quickly remove them if I need to. We'll create a small incision in the seam of the hat using a sharp hobby knife. To make the wiring more discreet, we'll need to fit the JST connector through this slit. You can use a seam ripper to create a cleaner opening. Cutting the fabric can leave frayed edges, so you'll need to be careful. With the incision now large enough, we can insert the connector and pull the wiring through. I used hot glue to affix the NeoPixel strip to the front of my hat. My glue gun has a fine tip nozzle, which I found to be really helpful. Press the strip onto the hat to make sure the glue has a good hold to the fabric. You want to be careful not to use too much glue or it may leave a stain on the outside. Otherwise, I found this to work pretty well. The crystals appear really nice as is and look even better when the LEDs are on. And there you have it! That's how you can add NeoPixels to your hat, and now you can control them with your phone or watch. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more projects from Adafruit.
All right, and we also have a sped up video. This one's kind of neat because it's an optical illusion that we saw, and it's also a cup.
Okay.
And don't forget, every Wednesday, 3D Hangouts with Don Pedro, you would be able to learn how to make all this stuff as well. All right, Lady Ada, before we start off on new products, let's do the code. It's the mask. 10% off in the Adafruit store all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, or when I remember to turn off the code. Let's do it.
Okay. New, 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 new.
Pretty good.
New, 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 new.
All right, on brand. Okay.
Okay.
First up.
It's a new time. Okay, we've got some fully assembled motor wing for feathers. We stock this as a solder-it-yourself kit, but there's some situations or projects where you want it to come fully soldered and assembled. So for a couple bucks extra, we will put the terminal blocks on and the headers on, and so you can plug and play it with any of our headers that have stacking headers on it, or you can plug it in. Basically get I2C motor driver, PWM controller, and then 2 dual H bridges, so you can control 2 steppers or 4 DC motors total with this power from here. And like I said, it's fully assembled. Just plug it into any feather, and it'll work with all of them because it only uses I2C for data, including it should work just fine with that new seed feather. So that's pretty exciting.
Okay. Next up.
We've got another battery pack.
The most uncomfortable AirPod ever.
I know. So this battery pack, it's kind of it's a useful. I think this will be useful for people making robots and projects with Raspberry Pi and other single board computers, because it's 5,000 milliamp hours. It's not too big, and it's got 2 USB outputs. So that can be really handy if you want to have, one USB output for your single board computer and the other USB output for your motors or whatnot. It's a nice slim style battery pack. It's got the little indicator here telling you how charged it is. You charge it over micro USB, and then you have 2 ports. Each port can do up to 2 amps. I don't think you should try to draw 2 amps total from both, or 4 amps total, so 2 from each. I think you're going to get the best performance with 2 amps total. So you can have one that like spikes up to 2 and the other one that's maybe a little bit lower, but you definitely do get 2 USB outputs, so it's handy. And then when you charge it, it'll draw 2 amps from USB. So you'll make sure that use a good USB hub or computer power supply that can provide it. But it's a nice slim style power bank, so nice, I like it.
Next up.
Handy. This is just like our micro servers that we've had for a while, but this time it comes with a JST 3-pin connector on it. And like someone on the show and tell mentioned, it's handy because we have a lot of boards now that have these 3-pin JST connectors that you can use for powering NeoPixels or servos. Historically, we had these cables that you'd make an adapter with to plug into a servo, but now you can plug it in directly. So I thought I would show this maybe on the overhead. That's a good demo. So here I've got the Pi badge, and we've shown the Pi badge with analog inputs on this port, but you can also do PWM outputs. So when you plug this in...
We did a machine learning bubble blowing project where you said up or down, and it would change a servo based on that, which was kind of cool. The other thing I like is with Circuit Python, you get a REPL.
That's right.
And you can see what's going on. And I think this is probably one of the best, coolest ways for folks to, especially if they're just getting started in programming.
Too easy.
To see, it's too easy. Go figure. Yeah, I actually don't think it could ever be too easy to program. I think we could never make it too easy. But anyways, the fact that you can see the print statements and such on the screen while it's doing the things will help you debug. Yeah. And also using the REPL to send code over is super fast, and you don't have to compile and wait.
Yes. So this version is just printing out and using Circuit Python, but of course this works with any servo. You can use this with MakeCode, you can use this with Circuit Python, you can use it with Arduino. It's just like every other servo that you're used to, except we now just have it with this nice flexible JST cable, and you can just plug and unplug it as desired. So we'll make those projects easier. Especially like Halloween has these, all of our Pi Gamers and Pi Badges has them. So we're starting to add these to all of our dev boards. It just makes it easier to plug and play.
And this is also a badge, so you can make a badge that does something when someone presses a button, or when you display something on your badge, all sorts of things you can do.
Yes.
Okay.
Super cool. So, micro servo, now with JST.
Next up, Dr. Theopolis from Buck Rogers.
These are This is actually an old product. This is like product number 619, but it's been updated now. So we had a supplier for these RGB LEDs, and they were giving us inconsistent color ordering, and so we found another supplier. So this has been totally revised. So the pinout is different. It's now reversed from what it was before, but we have at least a consistent supplier now, so we shouldn't have things changing around. So just watch out there if you've used these before, you'll need to flip them when you solder them and change the RGB pinout, or change the design in your layout program. But
Okay.
we now have a consistent supplier.
All right, this is a big deal product, but we have a couple more to go. But this is a big deal.
This is the ATCC crypto. But I wonder, what's this lock all about? Well, that lock stands for security. The ATCC 608 is the latest generation crypto auth chips available from Microchip. There's actually a couple providers now making these. These are no longer the only ones. And what's interesting about these chips is that as you're doing IoT projects, you might have private keys that you need to securely store, and no microcontroller really is secure. You can always glitch them or etch away the metal layer and fix up the fuses so you can read out code. So it's not, and if you're using like a Python or a single board computer, your file system is not encrypted. It's completely world readable. And
Also, every single thing I touch that's an online service that has anything to do with programming and development, it's a bunch of keys. You're just constantly moving keys around.
it's true. It's all keys. So this is a chip that's specifically designed to store, I think, about 16 different cryptographic keys, and then you can do challenge responses through it. So that once you program it with, at the factory, for example, you would program it with your private key for a certificate, and then later on when you need to authenticate it, a challenge will be sent. You transmit that challenge over I2C, it gives you back a response, so there's no leakage of the key. That key doesn't actually leave the chip, and the chip is designed to be secured. So there's a couple things. It can do hashes, it can do SHA-256, HMAC, it can do, I can't remember the encryption for public key certificates, it's URLM something, I don't know, and AES-128. It can also do random number generation, and of course it can store these keys securely.
And it's SemiQt.
And it's SemiQt, so it's I2C. It can run from 3 to 5 volts, and we made it really easy for you to use. It's a nice, small, compact breakout. And you can, of course, solder to these pads, or if you don't want to, just use these handy quick connects. These are cables that plug in. They're chainable. This is a SparkFun invention, which I think is super cool. And so, for example, we have this proximity sensor and then maybe a crypto chip, and then you plug it into your main microcontroller. You can use wires, or if you have this connector, you can chain them together. And then each one in the chain communicates over I2C. I will say one thing about this chip. There's no data sheet. The data sheet's under NDA, and I didn't want to sign an NDA because then I couldn't release anything that we learned. So there's libraries and code for this. Arduino wrote a really cool library that works quite well with it. There's a crypto auth library in Python available from Microchip. So they released code for it, and we're working on a CircuitPython library, but there's no data sheet. So if you want to see what it does, there's a summary data sheet. And if you want a more detailed data sheet, look for the data sheet for the ATCC 508, which was under NDA and then got released and is similar enough to this that it's basically cross-compatible. How cross-compatible? I don't know, because I can't see the data sheet. It's under NDA. So I'm doing the best I can here. But it does work. It works with their code. And hopefully at some point they will release a full data sheet. Until then, please check out the ATCC 508 data sheet.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to email a time-coded link. You can do that with YouTube when you're watching a video. You can right-click it and say URL with this time.
Yeah.
And I'm going to send it to Xavier and Bob and a couple other people at Microchip. And I'm going to say, look at this great demo with this functional thing. And then check out the chat with all these people that are really happy that want to use this chip.
They love this chip.
That's what I'm going to do later tonight.
And another thing that's interesting is we've been adding this chip onto a lot of our airlift shields and breakouts, but we haven't necessarily populated it because we didn't have the library support yet. Another thing that I found out that's not published anywhere, because again the data sheet's under NDA, is if you have other devices on the I2C bus with this, because of the way this does the sleep and wake up mode, Try to run your I2C bus at about 400 kilohertz, not the standard 100 kilohertz. I don't have any more information other than they're like, yeah, sometimes it seems to kind of like collide with other devices on the bus unless it's running at 400 kilohertz or higher. That's all the information I've got. But if you're using it on a single bus and without a lot of other sensors, it works great.
Next up, a cable.
A cable. Okay,
This is a big deal.
big deal. This cable, it's a JST SH cable, actually a lot like the quick cables I just showed you, except it's 9 pins and it's AA style, so it doesn't flip around. You'll see it's straight through style. And we got this for the next product. This is coming soon.
All right, ready? This is it.
Yes, this is the exciting new product. So last year we did the Halloween for holidays, for the Halloween holiday, and we're going to have a Halloween M4 come out soon. But we also wanted to do, a lot of people were like, well, I want 2 eyes, right? Because you can't really have just 1 eye. What do you want 2? So we're like, okay, well, let's think about how we could design a board that had 2 eyeballs on it. And then, we have the SAMD51, which is really fast. We just got these really beautiful 1.5 inch 240 by 240 IPS displays, so that's really cool. And then we put it together on one PCB, and each display has its own SPI bus, so we can run DMA to both of them. And the chip is fast enough and good enough that it can basically render with like a simple 3D rendering algorithm. So it looks as good as the Raspberry Pi eyes, but you don't have to tote around a Raspberry Pi.
A couple things on this, though.
So there's a lot of stuff going on here.
Yeah. So one, the nose is boopable.
Yes, the nose is a capacitive touch button that when you touch it, you can detect it and do stuff like make a noise or blink the eyes or whatever.
Yeah. Also, the silk is in partnership.
Miss Monster.
Miss Monster.
Who does a cool art, both
Yeah.
3D and 2D, and designed this silk screen for us.
That's a huge fan base. Already on Twitter, people are like, "Hey, Lady Ada and Miss Monster teamed up.
We
What?
are
This is the
teaming
best
up.
thing.
This
This is
is-
like a crime-fighting duo, except for they don't fight crime; they make electronics."
What was funny is, so Philby told the story on Show and Tell. We were ready to send this out to fabrication. I was all done. I was like, look at this silk screen, look great. And then we realized everyone's going to ask, oh, is the nose capacitive touch? Because the teeth are on the ground plane, but the nose, they're like, well, we want to touch it. So we made it so it's a capacitive touch button.
Yeah, let's
So-
show this thing on.
Great. So let's show this off. So I've got it here actually with the lenses. So we already stock these lenses, and you can see they do make a big difference. We have glass and plastic ones. And we'll be releasing a plastic cutout that you can make or buy that will hold these against. You can see there's these
Is there a
mounting
light
bolts.
sensor on that thing?
There is a light
There's
sensor.
a light sensor on that thing.
But I didn't program in the code that changes the
Yeah.
eye pupillary. But there's a light sensor here, and when I get to updating it with the latest code, it'll do the light. Will change the pupils. And then on the back, so you've got the 2 displays. Again, they're IPS 240 by 240, so they're nice, crisp, beautiful displays. So if you compare these to the Halloween, they look really good in comparison. You've got 3 tactile switches, and this is a Seesaw coprocessor to help do that. We've got a light sensor over here, and we've got that Stemma 3-pin cable. So again, you want to connect servos or NeoPixels through here. This is an I2C port, so you want to connect like these sensors. You can connect them through an adapter cable. And over on this side, you got that reset button. This is a 4-pin connector for an optional PDM microphone. So you can maybe do some like sound effects or like reacting to audio. We want to do more audio capabilities on this board compared to the Halloween. So this has a stereo headphone out connected to the 2 DAC pins on here, so you can do stereo sound effects. It still has that speaker output here, so you can connect an 8 ohm speaker. It's LiPo battery powerable, so you can plug in LiPo here. So of course for portable uses, you plug it in, it can charge over USB, and then it can run also off of a LiPo. And then another 3-pin cable over here. There's also accelerometer, so you can do tap detection or motion detection, so you can like tilt the eyes. And QSpy Flash for storing images and sound effects. So, you can have sound effects playing while you do the eyes, and then, of course, this cute silk screen.
All right,
And
but
then
I got a question.
what's your question?
I got a
Is this
question.
too easy? No.
Yeah. Why
What's
is
your-
it so easy? Now, so you showed this cable earlier, and I was thinking, there's a lot of costumes that it'd be cool to like have an eye on each side, but I'd have to break this in half.
Yeah.
And could I use that cable and then connect these up? Because it looks like you kind of could.
You kind of can.
You kind of can?
There's these two connectors here. So you
Yeah.
see these are the JST H, and you can even see a little bit the traces going through here and then these holes.
Ah,
So these holes are, it's not easy to break them. We didn't want to make it easy because then you'd accidentally break them. But with, if you're trying with pliers, you can snap off the nose. I will mention that once you snap off the nose, of course, you can no longer boop the nose.
yeah.
And then you can have the eyes separated.
Yeah.
So now,
And those little green tabs, for
Oh.
folks who don't know, no, you can leave them on.
I like to keep them
They're
on.
screen protectors.
They're screen protectors. I'm one of those
Lady,
people.
Lady Ada saves these forever, and I'm just like, are you waiting for the Queen of England to
I don't
visit,
know
and then
why.
we'll put out the good
I don't
silverware,
like to remove the
and
screen
and we'll
protector.
finally peel off these screens?
Fine, I'll move it. There you go. See, it does look a little bit better. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can have the eyes now separated. You might even be able to go longer, but we wanted to keep it safe. So it's like 6 inches or 4.5 inches, 100 millimeters. But now you can put these around differently or mount them separately. And of course, there's tons of mounting holes to make that easy. So you do that. The nose, you lose the nose. Keep that for later. But
Yeah.
instead, you get this nice separatable eyeball.
Yeah.
So we
And
want
you
to
can even make the
it,
cable longer if you wanted to.
you can. We're starting with 100 millimeters, and then we'll because it
Yeah.
is running 50 megahertz SPI over these.
Yeah.
So it is a little risky, but I think you could probably go twice as long.
All right.
And that's the monster mask. So coming soon. We're making these now. So sign up. We'll be having these in the next couple days.
Plenty of time before Halloween, but Halloween is every single day, and we're proving it.
It's true.
Okay, and that is new products.
All right, we got some time to do a couple quick questions.
Okay, well, we're going to do a recap.
Oh, right.
Okay, ready?
Ready? New. We've got a fully assembled motor featherwing for steppers and DC motors. No soldering required. This battery pack is 5,000 milliamp hours and has 2 USB outputs. Each can do 2 amps max, so great for single board computers with accessories. This micro servo is just like our kind of classic micro servo, except now it has a JST 3-pin connector, so it can plug into all of our stemma cable boards without having to have any special adapter cables. We've updated this 5 by 5 millimeter LED. It's not a smart LED, it's just red, green, blue. We sell them in strips of 10. The pinout has changed, just wanted to let people know to check the new pinout. This Atcc 608 is a crypto coprocessor. It can securely store your keys and then perform HMAX or SHA-256s or AES 128s or elliptical ECDAs for public key cryptography without having those keys exposed, so that you can not worry about having key security for your main microcontroller or microprocessor and have this chip do the secure enclave work for you.
Make your own secure enclave.
This is a 9-pin JST cable, which is used with the Monster Mask. It's two 240 by 240 IPS TFT displays driven by our Cortex M4 processor. Can do really beautiful rendered eyeball displays, and you can even break them apart and then use that cable that we showed previously to make tethered but separated dual eyeball display. It's got audio inputs and outputs. It's got a boopable capacitive touch nose, and it's ready for all of your Halloween mask and cosplay projects. You'll be able to update the LED, the TFT eyes to any kind of design you want just by dragging and dropping some files.
Okay. That's it.
No.
So, we got some top secret. Folks can go to Discord while we're doing some top secret to start loading your questions.
Yes.
But let's do this. So first up, we have some. We're a couple days shifted because we had all this Circuit Python Day stuff. So our Stemma Sunday came in on Monday, which is fine.
Well,
so
it's 24 hours.
we got 3. It's probably a Sunday. somewhere
Yes,
in the
this is
world.
actually Phil B mentioned
We got
this
3 of these.
a year or two ago, and I just never got around to making a breakout for it. The TLV 3-axis magnetometer is often used for joysticks. It's a little I2C 3-axis magnetometer. I thought it would be a good board to quick up. The APDS 9500 is a kind of advanced sensor. It's a little scary. It does proximity and multiple gestures, but we're kind of looking forward to figuring that out.
There's that one, and then this is the
And
third
then
one.
the ICM 2948, we actually made a breakout for this, but then never kind of finished it. So now we're just like, hey, let's just do it again. This time with these SemiQc connectors. This is a 9 DOF sensor that has I2C, SPI support, and it has like a DMP. It's like a digital motion processor that hopefully isn't under NDA.
Okay. And then we picked up one of these. This is an Orbit Reader 20. And maybe you can briefly say what it is, and I'm going to grab it real fast so you can show
Yeah,
me that.
this is a USB device that when you plug it into a computer, you can have it work with screen reading software, and it can output Braille. And it has like it's not inexpensive, but it has I think 20 characters of Braille that it can output in a 2x4
All right, so
grid.
here's the demo for it, which is like super cool. So I'm going to press
Yeah.
and hold it. Yeah, well, I'm going to hold it to the side so you can see what's about to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
So when you press and hold the button, this starts it up. It does a quick test. And so that's actually raised up. I don't know if you can
Yeah.
see it that well,
Yeah.
but isn't that cool? And I'm going to do that again. So what I want to do is make this so when you plug in a CircuitPython device, it'll
Maybe the
have the
REPL will-
REPL.
the REPL come out?
Yeah, this is going to be a Braille REPL.
Oh, cool.
That's the plan. And so we'll
Right.
see. This is
Neat.
Yeah, it's super cool.
All right.
Okay, next
I
up,
see you.
here's a video. This is we're working on some cool stuff with our AR app. We have a if you have an iOS device, go to the App Store and just download our any of the Adafruit apps. This one will do things like show you the CPX profile, the copper top, and the solder paste, and the solder mask.
Yeah, so it's like
Ooh.
3D invisible PCB. Registration's pretty good too. I mean, look at it's like
Not
following.
too shabby. Okay,
Nice.
back in the vault.
Oh, can I share something real fast on the overhead?
Yeah. Let me just remind everybody, it's question time. Go to Discord. That's pretty much where we can answer questions because there's like 80 chat rooms. And you want to go to adafruit.it/Discord, join all 13,000 of us over there, and we'll start answering your questions in a second. Here is your overhead shot. What do you
Oh
want?
yeah, I want to show like this Bitsy wing. This is something that Brian designed. So it's a Wi-Fi add-on. Again, it has that crypto chip, which is kind of nice. RGB LED U-Blocks module with an ESP32 on it that's running the Nina firmware code that we have dubbed Airlift. And you plug it onto your Itsy Bitsy, and now you can have a little teeny Wi-Fi chip.
Okay.
Yay.
All right. So load up your questions in Discord. I'll mention this about the Orbit Reader. If you would like to help with this, we're going to get started on. We don't want to sign an NDA, so we're just going to figure out kind of how it all works on our own, and we're going to try to do a microcontroller friendly thing for it. So especially with CircuitPython devices, like a Python REPL
Yeah.
is going to be on here at all times. So we think we'll be able to do it. But if someone is really, really, really interested or even has access to one of these or wants to help do stuff, you know, get hold of me.
Okay.
People seemed like they were interested.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, have you found that more makers have moved on from Arduino to other languages, Python, MakeCode, etc.? Also, any plans for Grand Central with the ESP32 coprocessor? Yes, in fact, our business relies on us knowing what people are doing and what they're going to do. So most people have decided, hey, like, I know a scripting language like Python, I'd like to use that with electronics. And so we made sure we had something for all of them. All of our stuff still supports Arduino. And then, of course, if you're a beginner, you might start out with MakeCode. Maybe you want to move on to JavaScript, so you can do it that way. And then there's also static Python within MakeCode. But we've seen a huge shift over the last few years. The big shifts, I would say, is one was to the feather format. So companies like Particle, it's feather format.
Yeah.
We have 200 or 300 different feathers listed in awesome-feather on GitHub. So github.com/adafruit/awesome-feather. That was a big move because it's smaller, has battery charging, has all those things that you want in a form factor like that.
Yeah.
And then the other big move was microcontrollers are getting so fast that you really want a scripting language like Python. Also IoT stuff. It kind of is a nightmare doing it in C.
It's really hard to do it in
So-
C. And I've done a lot of IoT stuff in C.
Yeah.
And if you compare all the PyPortal projects that we've done, they're so easy because you can just parse JSON, you can do like file system storage. You can configure, you have a REPL that gives you output to tell you, like,
Yeah.
if you can't connect to Wi-Fi. It's way, way, way easier, in my opinion, than any of the C
Yeah.
examples.
And just straight up, if you look at what's going on in the industry, there is probably a fast chip. There might be a coprocessor, but the chips are so fast, you probably want to use something like a Python-like language. And this is where everyone's moving to. And we saw this happening, or going to happen, a few years ago, and so that's where we move stuff. So I would say there's never been more interest for scripting languages on microcontrollers, and just search around on your favorite Bing, DuckDuckGo,
Yeah.
Google engine, and just look at every article about top programming languages and which ones are going up, and Python's always in there.
Yeah.
Next up, someone want to know, will we have a Grand Central with an ESP32?
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
I haven't thought of one yet, but I could probably design
We've
something.
done an airlift metro, so
The airlift metros are
not-
good, but yes, I think, we had issues getting the chips for the Grand Central, which is why they were out of stock for a bit, but now I think we are able to keep them in stock.
Yeah.
So I feel comfortable designing. I don't want to design another board when it's just going to instantly be like unavailable.
Yep.
But yeah, now we have the airlift stuff going. I think designing one would be super cool. Why not?
Okay,
For now, you can just put the shield on.
Okay, which is a better feather, the M0 Express or the M4 Express, in a general way?
The M4 will be much more powerful and have more memory.
Okay. If you're a beginner, kind of advanced, do you need an oscilloscope? No.
You don't need one. It helps, but you can pick one up. They aren't too expensive, only a couple $100. Once you feel like you're doing enough stuff that justifies it, you'll know.
Okay. Do we plan on streaming the other services? Yeah, we stream, in addition to what JMK listed, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitch. We also broadcast to Mixer and also to LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Next up, do you plan on translating some of your guides to Spanish? We'd very much like to. We're starting with all the translations for Circuit Python on the error messages that come out, and everything we possibly can, because that's things that are built into firmware and stuff. Don't have an easy way to translate the guides. However, if you're interested in translating the guides, please feel free to start out on GitHub, and we could probably look at it that way. I think we would probably want to have it in a way before we put it into a main guide, or just translate a straight up guide.
Yeah.
But yeah, the problem is we have 1,952.
Yeah.
So it has to kind of be a bigger effort that's manageable. And then Circuit Python on TNT4. Yeah.
We think it'd be cool. The first start would be TINA USBs, and we'll take
Feather
a look
adapter for TNT4.
The feather adapter should just work.
It should just work.
Because it's the same pinout.
Yeah.
So try it out.
Yeah, I assume there'll be a TNT feather like this.
Yeah, eventually. But for
Okay.
now, you can use the adapter.
All right, let's give some away. What do you want to give away this week?
I thought we could give away a mask.
And give away a mask. That's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
No. Okay. What are the rules?
You'll get a monster mask. First person to call the phone number that is on the screen, I will say ahoy ahoy, and I will then ask you your name and where you're calling from, and a project you're working on or you want to work on. And if you're the first person to be able to perform all those tasks, you will win a monster mask.
It's a pretty easy trivia question. Right?
Yes.
So, okay. This is a phone number.
Okay.
So you're doing a mask.
Yes.
All right. While we're waiting, any recommendations for a buck boost converter to power Raspberry Pi, let's say at 5.2 volts, 3 amps?
That's tough. I don't know of any offhand. That's why a lot of people like these battery packs. They just kind of do everything for you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mr. Certainty, for putting up some oscilloscopes that people might want for a budget device you recommended.
Yeah.
Analog Discovery 2. It's oscilloscope, logic analyzer, and more. And you can get good discounts.
Yes.
Okay. And let's see what else here. Will there ever be 36 and 48 pixel rings? Yeah.
Maybe.
Sure.
Sure. Why not?
Sure.
I'll think about it.
Okay.
Okay. Phone. Call this phone number.
Yeah, I put the phone number in the chat. And so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It's ringing.
Okay. Good to go.
Pick it up.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Hello. Congratulations. You've managed to call the phone number on your screen into Ask Engineer. And all you have to do is tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Hi, I'm Juan.
Sorry, what's your name?
I am Juan.
Oh, Juan from the show that you showed up here.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, congratulations. Well, Congratulations for calling in and winning the prize. We're going to send you a monster mask. All you have to do is email support@adafruit.com, SUPPORT @adafruit.com, or have a person or older person, if you're under 14, to do that. And tell them you won a product number 4343, and they will send that to you.
Okay, so I just have to email and tell them that I win, and they will
have a parent email.
send me.
Yeah, I have a parent, if a guardian email if you're a younger person. So,
Oh, okay.
because we'll have to get your email, your email and your address, of course, to send it to you. So make sure your guardian knows about that.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, email support@adafruit.com, SUPPORT @adafruit.com. And what's a project you're working on? You're working on the arm. What's the next step for the robot arm?
Probably like just make the whole hand and also like kind of make like the whole arm because I really want to do that.
Okay, you're going to make a robo wand, which is cool. Okay, well, congratulations. Email support@adafruit to get your prize, and thank you for calling. And come back on Show and Tell. It was great having you.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Good night, Juan.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Okay.
Yeah, that was cool.
A winner.
Come on.
of
What
seeds.
exciting! What exciting night! You know, this is just the world that's possible right now. You can be a young person. You can show your project on a show and tell.
Yeah.
Delight thousands of people around the world. Watch a cool show about electronics, and then win this electronic mask.
Yeah.
That's super neat.
This is great. I can be asleep now. You wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I'm so tired, but I look awake.
Quick question before we wrap it up.
Yeah.
What do you think the fastest SPI frequency to drive a ST7735 or ST7789 safely with the TNC4? Tried 40 megahertz and it seemed to work.
40 megahertz is okay. We're driving these at 50 megahertz, and they're okay. But above that is tough. I don't think you can go above 50. But these are being driven right now at 50.
Okay.
So it does work.
Are we going to be doing CircuitPython for the STM32 chips? Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, yes. Okay. All
I
right.
like how I look so interested in everything.
Yeah. This
All
is
right.
great.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, so that's our show for tonight. Thank you, everybody. Thanks to all the Adafruit team members behind the scenes. Takara is behind the scenes tonight. All the Adafruit remote folks, all the Adafruit community members and people in Discord helping things going, keeping it a nice, safe place. I tell you, folks, this little Adafruit community that we have going on is the
Special.
is the only island of sanity out there.
It's true.
I'm here to tell you.
This is what a sane person looks like.
I can't do a lot about the rest of the world, but we can make this thing work out together.
This is normal.
So keep making and sharing, everyone. Don't forget, the mask is the code. It supports all these cool folks and more. And
These folks who are making these masks today.
yeah, they were making these today. We'll be back next week, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time for Show and Tell, 8 p.m. for Ask an Engineer. Here is your moment of Zener. Bye, everybody.
Bye.